Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time you are tuning in. Welcome to Homesteading and Gardening in the Suburbs. I'm Emma from Misfit Gardening, and today we're talking about homestead overwhelm and some tips to help you get through it. Because if you're a normal homesteader and you work a normal job for money, you got to pay the mortgage, right? Then you're likely to be running into homestead overwhelm at some point. It usually happens when, the garden's coming in, you got harvest and canning season all on, and, I just wanted to talk about some strategies that I've used to help kind of deal with all the overwhelm and, those kind of feelings of, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. There's just so much. I can't do everything and I don't know where to put my efforts and stuff. But it's not just those kind of things that happen during the busy periods of time. It can also happen when things aren't going to plan on your homestead. When you lose livestock or crops fail and things, then those can bring on those feelings of homestead overwhelm as well. So let's talk a bit about what homesteading overwhelm is. And it's really the wall that you hit when you feel like there's just way too much to do on the homestead, and you might also call it burnout. And most of us at some point in our past have experienced it. And it usually starts, just like I said, when things are failing or things are going wrong. And, honestly, you just kind of have those feelings like you just can't do it anymore. Some people might throw in the towel. Other people, want to take on more stuff, try something different. It might be that you tried to do too much all at once, right? Too many animals, too big of a garden, maybe something that you just started didn't work out, like beekeeping or maybe raising chickens or something. Or maybe it's just because your work-life and homestead balance is just way out of sync. And, more often than not, your day-to-day job is going to take precedence because, it pays the mortgage, right? And pays the bills. Stress and depression and, giving up on your homestead can happen, when you don't dig deep and pull through. And I want you to know that you can dig deep and pull through. And there's lots and lots of tools and strategies and, things available to help you get through this. But I want you to know that many, many, many homesteaders experience this if they're, on 100 acres or less than an acre. And an important thing to remember is that it is totally normal to go through homestead overwhelm. And in time, the overwhelm passes. And there are some things that, we can do to help manage homestead overwhelm. And especially if you're feeling, like you can't manage it right now. And, the first thing is, let's talk a little bit about, accepting your limits, right? And it's okay to be where you are right now. And it's not always easy to admit to yourself, let alone another person, that you are at your limit. And, know this, and, this is really difficult for me because I'm, one of those people that doesn't like to ask for help. But know this, that no one can do it all. And sometimes some things will need to be put aside to tackle another day, and it's okay to reach out for help, and it's okay to leave some of those things, for the next day. And I'm naturally a really, really busy person, like all the time. I've always got something going on. I really struggle to sit still. Meditating and stuff is very difficult for me because I really struggle to shut off. I think one of the last times that I truly shut off was when I had emergency surgery to have my appendix removed. And that was obviously induced by anesthesia. But that's kind of the person that I am. I'm always on the go. I'm always doing something. I have a full-time job. I manage the garden. I've got dogs. I've got a husband and family to spend time with. I run a small business at home. I also do many crochet projects, and I try to read and stuff as well. And there's a lot of stuff that's kind of going on in our lives, and often I have to make a choice. Like, am I going to write a blog post for this week, or am I going to clean the house? And sometimes when I'm trying to make my decisions, I talk them through with my husband. I don't necessarily want his opinion. I just want to be able to kind of springboard those conversations off somebody else and kind of help guide where I should be focusing my energy. So right now we're remodeling our home. So talking with my husband helps to align the goals that we want to achieve together. So whilst he's building kitchen cabinets, if I say, well, what are your plans for this week? Is there something that you really need, help with this weekend? It might be, well, do you mind poop scooping the backyard and mowing the backyard so, I can concentrate on building the cabinets? Or it might be, well, can you finish demoing the tile in the kitchen so I can get these cabinets wrapped up because we're about to put them into the kitchen, and being able to have that open discussion with your spouse or your partner helps you to really align on, goals that you're wanting to achieve together. So we have long-term goals and we have short-term goals, and, our short-term goal is to get the kitchen sorted because we've got family that are going to be visiting soon, and we're really excited because, they're military and we've not seen them because they've been based overseas for a while. So we're excited to have people over, but obviously if the house looks like a construction site, then that's not really going to work. But long-term goals we also have together. So being able to talk through some of those things helps us as a family to achieve those goals that we want to. And I'll be honest, and I'll tell you that my garden has weeds. My house is currently a nightmare because of the remodel. Like, we're just kind of living in boxes and stuff, or out of boxes, and there's tile dust and grout all over the place. But, we're making choices that are going to move the family and the homestead forward in the direction that we want to do. And, if I choose to do nothing, then everything will stay the same, nothing will change. But if I choose to take action on something, even if it's something small, then it's going to move things forward. And it's all about taking the action and choose to pursue the things that, really matter to you. And that brings me on to practicing gratitude. And this is something that was kind of new to me. But enjoy and do the things that are important to you right now without wishing for something different, and take a moment to look back and celebrate how far you've come. Like, we're so focused on, what somebody else has or what we're lacking, reframing those feelings of lack into, look at all the things that we do have, can really change your output on everything. And I began writing a gratitude journal this year. This is something that was very new. I'd never done it before. And I was inspired because I had friends who, they have a gratitude jar. And at the end of the year, they open up this jar. But what they do throughout the year is they write on little bits of paper, successes that they had, things that they were grateful for. And, at the end of the year, they open it all up and they read through them all to sort of see what happened in the year, and, awesome things that happened that, they might have forgotten about. So I began writing this gratitude journal, and every day I write at least 3 things that I'm grateful for. And when I first started, it was actually really difficult to think about. And I wrote that, I was grateful for another chance to snuggle with my dog Sparky. I was grateful for my husband making a pot of hot coffee in the morning, and one that I didn't have to microwave. One of the other things that I would write was, I'm grateful that I came home from work late and dinner was already made. And these things might be trivial to you or to somebody else, but on the day that I wrote those things down, they were incredibly important, and they still are. And when things feel like they're going sideways, I read that gratitude journal and I write 3 things that I'm grateful for so far that day. So there might be days where I've got lots more things that I'm grateful for that I've written down, but at the minimum I try to write down 3 things. And it might be things like, I'm grateful for the sun shining. I'm grateful for, getting outside and feeling the breeze on my skin. I'm grateful for, playing fetch with Fido for an hour. I'm grateful for taking a walk. I'm grateful for just sitting down and having a cup of coffee and relaxing without hearing kids screaming and yelling. Like, whatever it is, those 3 things are going to help you kind of reframe everything that's kind of going on. And they can kind of help you choose your priorities too. So there's lots of skills to learn on your homestead, and usually you need to pick 1 or 2, preferably 1 if you're already kind of in this overwhelm, and pick one that's the most important for you and your family. And it takes time to get proficient in a skill. Like 10,000 hours is what you need to be practicing in a skill before you become, an expert or proficient in it. And trying to do too many things can leave you feeling stressed and overwhelmed. And there's no right or wrong priorities, because choosing what's a priority for you and your family is going to be different for what's a priority for me and what's a priority for my family. And that's going to be totally different from, another homesteader. And it's not about comparing, it's about achieving what is most important to you and your family and the life that you want to live. So your priority might be growing a garden or raising chickens or quail. Maybe it's canning or dehydrating food instead, or maybe it's like brewing awesome beer. Like, use these personal priorities to really help drive you towards your goals. So for example, our family's goal, other than the remodel, is to grow and eat from the garden as much as we can, and to preserve as much as possible to reduce the grocery bill. So that means that planning and growing the garden and canning season are really important, and those tasks come before me writing a blog post or running the vacuum around the house. Your goal might be to have a neat and tidy home filled with handmade furnishings and showing heritage chickens, so you spend more time cleaning, sewing and raising chickens, right? Your decisions to achieve your goals mean that you might miss out on some things, but they can open doors to others. So for example, if you're missing out on dinner with friends because you were elbow deep in canning tomatoes, then why not invite your friends over to a preserving party, right? Think like painting party, when you get your buddies over to help you decorate, you get some pizzas and some beers, right? Well, why not do a preserving party? So everybody bring a dish for a potluck, make up a big batch of lemonade, or, in our house it's going to be sangria, cocktails or beer. But then everybody helps to do the preserve. And, you can get people helping chopping and prepping, the veggies or the fruits. You get multiple people that are cooking or, filling the cans and stuff. And, you get to share a skill with your friends and spend time with them, and you get the preserving done. And you can split the preserved foods with your friends if they want. Or maybe you can give them a basket of fresh veggies from the garden, whatever you decide. And we do these kind of things all the time. We've got friends who, needed help with stuff, and, we're happy to lend a hand, and they come and help us. I mean, we roped a whole heap of people over to come and help spread mulch that we got delivered. And, I think my husband did a brisket or something. Like, he did a bunch of meat on the smoker. We had one of those big long tables out that was just full of food, and everybody had a couple of beers, and it was really nice. Like, everybody was just kind of able to relax afterwards, and we got a huge task that would have taken us the whole weekend done. We got it done in a couple of hours. So, there's a lot of power in enlisting help and deciding what your goals are. So, speaking of deciding your goals, have a plan. So, you need to take a minute and collect your thoughts and take the time to plan out what you need to do. It's going to help make sure that things aren't missed, and it's going to really help you feel that sense of achievement when you cross things off the list. Like, I love having a list and crossing things off the list. My husband's like, I've got lists for lists for lists, and I really do. Like, I have notes and stuff on post-its that have got things that I need to do on them, and that's because, like, I have a lot going on in my brain and I don't want to forget things, so I'll often jot things down on a post-it note or whatever, and then I'll cross things off later. And there's always this amazing sense of achievement when you can cross something off the list, even if it's something small. And there's such a great sense of satisfaction and joy in achieving something on the homestead. I mean, taking a moment to step back and see what you've achieved. I mean, building that greenhouse or chicken coop wasn't easy, and you did it. And being able to reflect back on those things that we've done. I mean, I love taking photos of the garden and seeing how far things have come. It's a wonderful sense of, accomplishment in doing those things. And a good plan is going to help you achieve your goals, right? A really good farmer doesn't spontaneously plant crops, they plan it out. And some days are going to be harder than others. But know that every day that you take a step forward and you do something that's on that list or that plan, it's going to move you even closer to that goal that you want to achieve. So I really recommend to take 5 or 10 minutes the night before to plan out what you need to do the next day. And more often than not, if you're a busy suburban homesteader who's working as well, this is like a Friday night activity to kind of plan out what's going to go down on the weekend. So an example might be you got to weed the garden bed, and around the tomato plants you need to sow broccoli and winter cabbage seeds. You need to build a quail coop, batch cook some dinners, and do laundry. And if you're already feeling overwhelmed on your homestead right now, then pick only 3 things from the list. You're going to be way more productive because it's only 3 things, and it's going to help you move forward with your homestead and help move you out of the overwhelm, because taking action is going to help you get out of that kind of funk that you're in. But it's also okay to take a break. And if you're feeling overwhelmed because you're tired, because you've been pushing yourself too hard, then take a break and get some rest. And my husband tells me all the time, you just need to shut off, just need to take a break. And sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. But the times when I do, take a break and get some rest, I am able to tackle things so much better. And you need to take care of yourself so you can take care of the other things. And my dad frequently tells me that you only get one body and mind, and you need to take care of both of them. And I can hear his voice telling me it all the time, especially when I don't take care of myself. So you need to take some time to mentally relax. So maybe you want to soak in the tub for an hour. Maybe you want to meditate for 15-20 minutes, or even practice yoga. I mean, even if you've never done, meditation, yoga, or even exercise before, there are so many tutorials for meditating, yoga, and short exercise routines on YouTube, and they're free. We've just started doing yoga. I'm trying to do it when I get home from work and I'm stressed out. I just pop on YouTube and I find my favorite channel, and 15 minutes later I've done some yoga, and it helps you have a bit more energy and feel a little bit better. Not necessarily yoga, but doing something that's different from what you're kind of already stressed out on is going to help kind of reset your mental switch, and exercise is good for you anyway. It's also a good idea to get away from your homestead if you can, even if it's just a day out with the family, maybe visit a movie or go camping or fishing or something. It's okay to take a day or two to rest, and then go at it again feeling well rested. You're going to be a lot more productive in doing that. And, if you really have way more to do than you can manage, then consider downsizing your homestead. It's okay to have a smaller garden, it's okay to have fewer animals, and it's okay to get rid of stuff that you don't need. It's okay if you decide that a homesteading lifestyle isn't for you. Appreciate those things which you have done and what you've achieved in trying something new. And obviously, having a smaller homestead and fewer projects means you've got fewer things to do and fewer things to be overwhelmed by, which means, hopefully less stress and more appreciation and love for those things that are important to you. You might also want to consider seeking help for your homestead and managing some of the tasks. So, some of those common kind of farming, homesteading tasks where people would get together to do it all together are things like harvesting, canning or preserving, installing and repairing fences, barn raising, so out back east, a good old fashioned barn raising, you roped in all your family to go do it. Planting in early spring, baling hay, shearing sheep, all those things were commonly done by, not just one person or one or two people, but a bunch of people coming together to help get it done. And, your mental and physical health are deeply important. So if your feelings of overwhelm are something more, then don't be scared to reach out for help. Ask a friend or a family member that you trust. And, really don't be frightened by seeking professional help if you need it. And with that, I hope that your garden grows beautifully, and I'll talk to you all next week. Have a lovely rest of your week, and I'll talk to you soon.